Yes, we are. And we are here. September. It's September. All kind of things are happening. How you feeling?
I am feeling good. I feel like a honeybee. How about that? And
Honeybee, oh sweet.
yeah, I have to tell you, I love the honeybees. And I thought when you told the story of it, it just made my heart smile. So I love your honeybee story. I love the busyness of the honeybees. And it's a lovely Friday to be here with the bees.
I know when you feel like the fall, especially we ended with the Labor Day weekend and everything kind of wrapping up. It's so exciting. We're going to do some Earth, Wind, and Fire, open up the song about September because, what I do realize is we are busy like bees. It's not slowing down, it's actually ramping up. So, adding some of that kind of joyous, nostalgic kind of feeling that sometimes the end of summer brings us, but entering into like, a badass stinger bee kind of September as well. Like we're working hard, keeping busy. We'll be joyous, but we don't remember we will sting. So let's dance in. And I want to say you're going to hear Jade Harris, who ran for office out in rural areas. Now she's working with the Rural Ground Game. And her speech is going to be part of our September dance in. So Dennis, want to cue up that song? Get your shoes on.
Thousands of Americans use the Labor Day holiday to
I could say that I don't know if that song doesn't get your feet moving and just get that feeling going. I
Yeah,
don't know.
I have to tell you, Catherine, I know that we spend a lot of time trying to find the right song. And I hope people understand how important that is in terms of building your spirit, thinking
Yes.
about the direction you want to go, and just bringing a little bit of joy and sometimes a whole lot of fight. And I needed that today, and I am so glad we chose that song because it lifted my spirits, and it also just lets me know that I can go another day.
Yeah, I mean, when I really got inspired, it was from a bee. I was sitting outside working, and this little bee came down and joined me and was kind of sucking on my salad. And I was watching him, and I just took the 15 minutes out of my day just to watch this bee work. And I thought, wow, he's just not seeing the September report jobs, right? He's not sitting there looking at the bad, the big bullshit bill. But what we do impacts that little bee. But I was watching work so diligently, and I just thought to myself how great it was to unplug for a minute and just sort of feel what's around us. I think that's really important because it actually helps us. It's sort of like exercising. When you do take a break, you actually get a little smarter. You actually you need time because we have so much coming at us to sort of kind of put it in perspective, right?
Yeah, so I want to say two things. One, I don't know if folks know how hard you work on this show and preparing for the show and getting all the things sent out, all the things that you do along with the team, but you lead us. And so you are that honeybee. But I also want to just secondly talk about Jade Harris because I think it's really important because this is a young woman who ran in Shenandoah for Senate. But the way that she turns around and talks to the congressman, Ben Klein, to say, Ben Klein, I'm talking to you. And I just think about the courage for her living where she lives. And she talks about her LGBTQ, her
Yeah.
faith, who she is, and she lays into him in public about what's happening. And I just think that's really important. I know people have to understand their spaces and places and how they operate, but it
Yes.
is important to be courageous. And it just reminded me of Fannie Lou Hamer, who was really working hard for the vote. And when she finally got a chance and she went out and voted, they beat her almost to death when she got
Yes.
back. And so I'm just saying that it's important for us to question what is happening in our communities, in our country, and it is important for us to whatever courage you have that you exhibit it and use it.
Yeah, I think today when we talk about this conversation we're going to have on rights messaging and democracy, it really all flows together. All this, even our advice from a bee, how we have to work really hard and continue at that. And we have so many ways to stay busy. And I don't mean like busy work. I mean, really, we have Scott Wheeler here, and I'm so excited to meet him and talk about what 5 for 15 is doing. And they're down in DC right now, protecting our home. Like you said, we see the troops invading and the threat of more coming at us. How do we protect our home and how do we protect others, vulnerable communities like Jade Harris was talking about? And I love that she could turn right and make it so sweet. She just turns right at him. I wish we could do that more, but Congress is in session, so we can go down there and say it. And then also remembering, to just hum while we work. We also work together. So grateful for the team here that it just helps us hum. And then your favorite, sting, if necessary. So
It,
yeah,
it is my favorite, and I want to say that I know that it'll be and the links will be there for anybody. Her video is 7 minutes long.
yes,
And
it
it
is.
is worth every single minute because she questions and she calls out and she lets people know what is happening to them. Like she says, what she says, we are gone are the days that we allow you to piss on our legs and tell us that it's rain.
Oh
So
my God, that was too good. Piss. I was like, I'm going to use that.
yeah, so people listen to her 7 minutes. Jade Harris is worth every minute.
Yeah, I think that's the way. I think I'll be interested what Antonia Scatton, who's here today, messaging expert, has to say about pissing on a leg and telling us it's raining. I love, we think about all the cuts and they're saying, you're not going to lose your job. Well, that job reports in Virginia. Also, the Epstein file stuff, we see the survivors coming out and saying, you know what? You can't silence us. That's the way we do have to keep fighting. It is just so crazy. But when we're united in action, we can do this. So today I want to make sure we just come out of the gate strong. It's the beginning of September. I mean, we're out of Labor Day and we have so much to talk about. We're so glad you're here with us. Let's just get the show going. Hello, everybody. It's September 5th, and you are on the Friday Power Lunch. We're so glad you're here. Fennell and I are going to bring you through just a great show today, amplify all the things that are important coming across Virginia and the nation, because we like to get things done and we like to make politics fun. And today, you are united in action. We're going to have a conversation on rights, messaging, and democracy, and we're just a buzz. We're just really a buzz today. And I'm so excited to have Jamie Lockhart back, Executive Director of Planned Parenthood Advocates of Virginia, PAC. And I am just let's just say this started with women and we are still in the fight with women's rights. So let's talk about those rights. And then Antonia Scatton is going to be here. She's if you follow on her Substack, her newsletter is Reframing America. We really rely on talking to Antonia. She's a great mind, a communications consultant, and she's probably going to give us a little bit of this today. So we'll see what she says about our talk. And then Scott Wheeler, he is down in Congress right now in a closet, Scott told us, and somewhere he's going to be talking to people today. He's going to tell us what they've been doing when we talk about really making sure we're holding people accountable. We have a chance now that Congress is in. So 5 by 15 he's a committed leader there, and he's going to discuss the DC field trip. And I'm really excited about that. Shenandoah Power Pack is here. Shane Boswell, Kathy Reck, Andrew Payton, and we have school board candidates, Javon Litton and Brett Wilson. And we welcome them because the Power Packs is where it's at. Virginia is the place to smash MAGA, and we're going to do it. So with that, I want to say that we need to we want to start our reproductive rights conversation. So Fennell, I'll see you on the other side, and welcome in Jamie.
Thank you so much, Catherine. It's great to be here. Great to see everyone. Thank you for having me.
I know, right? I said, Jamie Lockhart, Executive Director of Planned Parenthood Advocates of Virginia. And I am going to say, when we think about 2022 and when Roe was overturned, that was just the beginning. And so many things have gone on. We're here in 2025. So let's just open up with some of the latest news that's on your mind about reproductive issues, not only in Virginia, but really kind of framing up this when we talk about a conversation on rights and what's going on.
Yeah, and I know that folks are kind of waiting to see what Trump, what RFK, what the administration does to continue their attacks on reproductive health care. We've already seen them go after healthcare when they took away funds for the Title X family planning program, when they've cut other sources for family planning, the cuts to CDC, this now having this one big ugly bill that is going to not only kind of gut Medicaid, but also that seeks to defund Planned Parenthood. That's still in litigation, so kind of stay tuned. Planned Parenthood continues the fight on that, but we are just seeing unprecedented attacks, and I have to be honest about the fact that I feel lucky right now in this moment to be a Virginian, not only because we have some protections and that people are able to access abortion care and contraception here in the Commonwealth of Virginia, but a Virginian who has the opportunity to fight back this year. I am very excited about our state races and having the opportunity to, really push back to elect a new governor, lieutenant governor, attorney general, and to grow our pro-reproductive freedom majority to then advance the constitutional amendment so all of us get to vote on it in 2026.
It feels like forever ago when I think about the constitutional amendments, it's like there is so much opportunity when we talk about, I mean, I know that everybody is on fire about what's happening everywhere, as they should be, but Virginia, and we keep trying to focus people on it because truthfully, women, I say it's like a free state. It's where women could right now access, if you're thinking about having children, if you need access to care, I mean, right now you can still get it in Virginia, but we will be impacted by what's happening with RFK and this the abortion pill we see in Texas. Did you see the crazy shit they were doing in Texas today? I mean, and that criminal guy that's enacting how you can go and legally sue anybody and your neighbors. You could do the bounty hunter again and report your neighbors if you've been harmed by this abortion pill. What is your thoughts on that when you see some of these fights? Do they signal what could happen, for instance, here and other places?
I mean, it's horrific what is happening in 20 states across the country right now, and as we see the attacks at the federal level, and that's why we do have to continue to fight back. We just saw RFK Jr. yesterday really call into question a medication that has been used by 7.5 million people for nearly 25 years, and so we are seeing really harmful misinformation about access to this healthcare. And we are seeing these anti-abortion states like Texas really try to figure out how can they make life even more miserable for people that need to access care. They already have their bans, but how do we, but I mean, one of the things we've seen is that abortion rates have not gone down.
Right.
People are still finding ways to access the care, and they're having to go to extraordinary lengths to do so. And they know that. And so now their cruelty has no limits with how they're trying to really control people's access to healthcare.
Yeah, and it should be. And I feel like sometimes it's not talked about as much like right now. And I think it's because sometimes there's this talk about political stuff and races being run well, that thing, and we just were talking about last week. Well, abortion really wasn't on people's mind in the last election or the election before. And so we need to talk about these points. And I really just disagree, because I think that these kind of rights to your bodily freedom are just essential as when you want to walk down the street and your due process where somebody can just grab you and take you away. I mean, when you're talking about someone taking your freedom, your agency, right? I mean, so I want to just put the alert out there. And what is your plan for this particular election in Virginia? And we want to join in that plan when we talk to voters at the door. And what kind of momentum are you seeing, or are you still getting geared up?
We've been in the field since July. We've already knocked well over 10,000 doors as a program. So we have a great campaign going. This weekend, we have a weekend of action. So if you're in Northern Virginia, if you're in the Richmond area, Hampton Roads, Blacksburg, please join us. I can put the link in there where we will have door knocking this Saturday and Sunday.
Yes.
And we also have regular phone banks. So we are doing everything we can. One thing that's very exciting about this year, but also challenging, is that it's a huge battleground. I know we have Andrew Payton on today, who's one of the 18 battleground candidates that were designated by the Virginia House Democratic Caucus. And there is so much opportunity to flip so many seats. So, I've been excited to go knock on doors to talk about the constitutional amendment for reproductive freedom. And we are seeing that people are excited to turn out and knowing what is at risk in this election. And I wish I had more time to knock on all the doors.
I know. Well, connecting the dots, and I'm really impressed with, I'm looking behind you at that beautiful colors that are just grabbing attention. I wonder how we can use that. For now, I'm looking at that sign and colors and freedom, but it says 2026. So I'm like, But what I love is you can educate people about the process and why this election is so important. And I want to leave with you talking about, so everybody in the room could hear it, because we don't talk about it enough, Attorney General. Why is this Attorney General race just key to everything, even for the governor's race for Abigail? Can you explain it when you're talking about what you're seeing in lawsuits and so on?
Yes, it is. It is so important. Just recently, the Kaiser Family Foundation put out some information where they looked at CDC funding. Virginia had 11 CDC grants. Other AGs, they challenged the federal government taking away those funds. Other states won. Other states got their health funding back. We have not here in the Commonwealth of Virginia. And we are seeing just, our current attorney general, not challenge the Trump administration in any way. And also, as we talk about this constitutional amendment that we're very excited for 2026, we've seen other Republican attorneys general, really make their process challenging. And in Missouri, they passed their amendment, and access has gone back and forth because their attorney general has challenged and made it difficult to actually implement those rights that people fought so hard for. So it is so critical both to push back against the Trump administration, to make sure that we're protecting our rights here in the Commonwealth of Virginia. And that's why we've been so excited to support Jay Jones and to make sure people know. And Miaris was also in the House of Delegates when they were debating transvaginal ultrasounds. And he opposed.
Reminder.
Yeah, and he opposed rolling back all those restrictions in 2020 that have made Virginia such a key access state today. So he has a long record. He even joined a anti-abortion virtual fundraiser rally recently with people who want to not only ban abortion but ban contraception. He has joined forces with some of the most ludicrous anti-abortion leaders in the country. And so we all have the opportunity to say goodbye to him and bring a real leader in the AG's office.
I agree. And Jay Jones, could I say it enough? The Attorney General for voting, we talk about a conversation on rights, voting rights, reproductive rights. I mean, just in the sense of our due process rights, that Attorney General, and I want to make sure that we talk even this weekend, early voting is next week. We really got to alert people what is going to happen when we have an Attorney General that's going to work with our governor. Could you imagine if that splits or people don't understand it, and then we get a Democratic governor and then an AG that is going to continue to sue? So we need to sweep it, and we need to have that trifecta tsunami. So Jamie Lockhart, Executive Director of Planned Parenthood Advocates of Virginia, PAC, so exciting to see you, and we will be on the trail with you. So stick around if you can. If not, I know you have to go. So
thank you. See you on the doors.
So much. Yeah. So I'm excited to bring Scott Wheeler out of the closet. He's in Congress right now. This is Scott. Can we spotlight him up? He's a committed leader at 5x15, and he's going to discuss the DC field trip. And it's a joint venture between 5x15 and Mayday Movement USA. And a lot of folks, we got him. There he is. Great. And so I'm so excited to see you and meet you. And I would love first to talk. We, have a nice short spotlight here, but I wanted to make sure people know we want to get into action. Talk about 5x15 and your leadership there. And let's talk about this DC field trip.
Sure, absolutely. So 5x15 is basically a marketing, research, and consulting firm dedicated to the resistance. And we have folks come to us, and I've worked with a few people in Nova, and we take on portions of projects. We can't do all projects, so on and so on. Then DC Field Trip is kind of one of our big initiatives right now from the marketing angle. And we basically wanted to create an infrastructure that will help people get to Washington, D.C. easier to be citizen lobbyists. And through working with Mayday Movement USA, who helps receive them once they are on the ground, we can get people into Congress, which is where I am at right now. I am in the Longworth building.
It's not very busy, is it? It's kind of quiet looking.
Well, it's lunchtime.
Lunchtime.
And right now, our big push is that there are 12 Republican co-sponsors of Bill 581, which in theory will mandate the unredacted Epstein files if passed. And only 4 of the Republican co-sponsors have signed a discharge petition, which will bring it to a vote. So right now, today, I am here walking into these offices asking why. And I know that my questions are not going to get to the representative. They're not going to motivate anybody directly. But what we're trying to do is actually change office culture. So we're talking to the kids at the front desk and making them sit with that question and making them say, no, we don't know why the names aren't being released. because they deal with the representatives every day, and the representatives do have to answer to them directly. So
Right.
changing office culture, we believe, is a huge, huge step in the right direction.
So in the sense of you're just starting out, what is the time frame? You started Labor Day, and are you planning to sort of couch it all the way through September? What's your look at this? So for instance, you have this field trip. Are you growing or more people coming in, or what's your vision on what this will look like?
Yeah, it is an infrastructure. And the infrastructure is always available for people to use at any point, but
Okay.
also we will center it around some individual dates. So there are times when Flair and Mayday have scheduled times where they bring people in. There's all kinds of different protests. On the 19th, there's I think it's called We're America. I might be getting the name wrong, but
Right.
kids have written a version of the Constitution that's getting walked from Philly to DC.
Oh, right.
And any of these events, we just want to make it easier for people to get to them. And if people in the Nova network are curious as to how they may be able to help,
Right.
Mayday Movement USA is always in need of more people on the ground to accept those coming in and help train them as to how to talk to Congress. We're always looking for people that are willing to host short-term, out-of-town citizen lobbyists.
Okay.
And on the DC field trip site, you can go there, you can check it out, you can donate if you like. There's admin@dcfieldtrip.org. If you're curious about either doing some of the lodging and hosting some of the lodging, or even joining our marketing team, as we're looking for about 3 to 5 more people on a volunteer basis to help us push out some of these DC related events.
Yeah, and tomorrow there's a big rally. I know tomorrow I'm out of town too, but DC, Free DC, working, I'm sure you're working in concert with some of our friends on the ground there. So I really appreciate you being here, and we'll just keep in community because this is going to be ongoing. So please feel free to send us anything new or updates and how we can help, and we'll get you back and make sure. I'm having an idea that maybe everybody wouldn't mind having Subway sandwiches for lunch today. There's a new hero around. You never know. Wouldn't it be funny walking into the office with a bunch of Subways?
That's funny, for
I
sure.
like it. I think we have to get the t-shirt, the Subway. All right. See you later, Scott Wheeler. Great for being here. I'm excited. Let's bring up Fennell Norton. And it's good to keep your screen on, folks. If you're a guest on the show, if you don't have your screen on, we can't grab you. So if you're done talking, that's okay. If you're done talking, but when we need to find you, we need your screen. Hey, what are you thinking?
I am thinking that that was pretty awesome.
All right, so I know that we have a lot to get to because I want to say to people, as we're moving through the show today, and buzzing around, is Antonia Scatton. We put her at the end because I know that she's probably furiously writing down some things when we're going to bring up the Shenandoah Power Pack that we're going to ask, and maybe some questions about some of these challenges. And Antonia, for activists and for other people in the room, candidates, today's a great day that when we go to the after chat past 1 o'clock, we'll be able to do that. And I want to give a shout out for our patrons. We had some new patrons. It's so great to have your support. It means a lot. Every month, if you're a patron, we get some nice money in our account that helps us keep this program rolling and pay for our Zoom. It can get quite expensive. And so we're appreciative. And you also get a nice, I send a special letter just to patrons because it is a special relationship for people to support us. So I'm going to turn over the segment to you, my friend, and see you on the other side.
I will see you on the other side. So I am excited. I always love having my conversations with the Power Packs. But before we get started, I always take you to Virginia Grassroots with Dennis. So Dennis, I want you to bring up Virginia Grassroots if that's possible, and show folks how we do this, why the Virginia Grassroots is so important. So this is a site that every week when we do a Power Pack, I bring you to it so that you can see where all of this fantastic information is. That Dennis is really sort of the catalyst that makes it all happen. And what I want to ask you all to do today, I want you all to just put in the chat if you have already gone and perused the Virginia Grassroots website. And if you haven't, I want you to put a note in that says, I haven't, but I am going to make sure that the next thing that I do is to peruse this site to see how awesome it is. And so, Dennis, what I want to do today, just for the sake of time, is to show people how they adopt a Power Pack. So can we just show folks what you've done so that the Power Packs if you want to adopt one, how you do that. And you can also talk, Dennis, because you helped me along
Yeah.
to make sure that this is right. So
Thanks, Vinal. It's virginiagrassroots.org. Virginia is spelled out. Up at the top, Virginia Elections, Power Packs. Click on that. There's information about our Power Packs, where they are. But up here is the button to adopt a Power Pack. And it will ask you your name, where you live, and which Power Pack you want to work with. And these are the areas. It's not, so if it says Fredericksburg, it doesn't mean only in the city of Fredericksburg. It's in the area of Fredericksburg. And today's candidates are all in the Shenandoah area. They're not necessarily in Shenandoah County, but they're near the Shenandoah River.
so that's how you adopt one. And so there has been some adoptions, and we think that there should be more. I always refer to them as your fantasy football team, but it's a fantasy power pack. And when you adopt the power pack, that gives you the opportunity to be able to support and help these candidates. And so if you see to the right of the screen where it has action and events, it shows you all the things that are happening. And all you have to do is click in on it so that you can find out what's happening with these power packs, what's happening in those areas, and what you may be able to participate in. And you can also reach out to us and we will help you get connected with the candidate so that you can provide assistance to them. And sometimes it may be cash money that you're providing to them, but sometimes it's just whether you're writing postcards or whether you have the ability to knock doors, but it's something that you can do. So we all work together to ensure that our fantasy power packs, because they're all fantasy power packs, get help and support because we need it. Okay. So with that, we're going to have today our Shenandoah Power Pack, Shane Boswell from House District 31. And so I'm going to ask Dennis to go ahead and bring them all up. There's Shane. But we're also going to have Kathy Reck. She is, oh, geez, what house district is she? I didn't write it down. You'll tell me that, Kathy. And then we also,
33.
thank you. And then we have Andrew Payton. So guys, thank you so much. I'm waiting for Kathy to pop up. I don't see her. There she is. Fantastic.
Here I am. Here I am.
Fantastic. Guys, welcome. I am so excited that you all are here so that folks can learn a little bit about you. So here's what we're going to do. I am going to give you just the first couple of minutes just to sort of tell a little bit about yourselves. And I'm going to let all three of you do it. And then I'm going to come back because I have some really interesting questions that I know everybody is going to want to know about your campaign and what you're thinking about it. So Shane, I am going to start with you, but I'm going to say that you're in CD6, which is the congressional district that you're in, and that's Warren County and Frederick County, and that Dolores Oates, I think, is the person who is, I'm going to say today because I'm feeling spicy, is the villain. And I want you to tell us a little bit because this is a place where Harris had 36% of the vote and Trump had 63% of the vote, which was like 35% in the 23 race for the House of Delegates. So tell us a little bit about you.
Yeah, so District 31 is most of Warren County. It's southeast Frederick, so we've got the booming towns of Middletown and Stevens City down there. A lot of new growth, a lot of folks that came out here during COVID, trying to get away from Northern Virginia. No offense to folks that lived in Northern Virginia. I lived in Ashburn for a while, right? But we have a bunch of new folks out here that their doors haven't been knocked because we haven't had an election come around necessarily that we've been able to keep the data in the area. So, and then we've got all of Clark County, right? And there's only 14,000 voters in Clark, but we can flip Berryville, and there's enough going on down in Front Royal that Front Royal is incredibly flippable. They're under a little bit of an occupation right now by some religious extremist groups that are attempting to defund their local public library, Samuel's Library, which is one of the most awarded libraries in the country and one of the oldest libraries in the state. And, so pushing back on that, folks are engaged, activated. We're, the local paper down there is seeing 300,000-400,000 views a month on stories around the library. And yes, Dolores Oates is in that seat. That's kind of irrelevant to me. The reason I'm running is because no one out here feels heard. They don't feel heard by their representation. They don't feel heard by Richmond. Sure, they don't feel heard by DC. And I can't really fix that right now. We'll fix that with CD6 next year. But what I can do and what I have been doing is going out meeting with my neighbors and going to places that honestly, the Democratic Party doesn't go look for folks and doesn't go talk to folks. We go to tractor pulls, we go to yard sales, we go to, stock car races out here at the short tracks, and we show up and we listen. And I've got a phone core board that I travel around with me, and I've got a stacks of sticky notes, and I tell folks, look, this is about you and what matters to you. So write something on a sticky note, put it on the board, and some of the stuff that goes on the board, I have to wince. It's not necessarily what I would put up on the board, but there's a reason why my sign doesn't say Republican or Democrat, right? It's because I'm running to represent everybody out here and to listen to everybody out here. And my opponent has Republican on their sign. The school board candidates have Republican on their signs. And when we do candidate forums, they don't even bother to show up half the time because they think they don't have to, because they take these voters for granted. And I'm going to change that.
Very good. Thank you. I'm going to come back to you. Kathy, let's talk about you. So your last race, the last race, Harris had 28% of the vote. Trump got 73% of the vote. And I think Gilbert is the person that you're running against. Is that right?
I'm sorry, but my sound got messed up with that song. My speakers are blown. Can you speak up just a little bit? Because I've been running around trying to find headsets, but I haven't been able to find
All right, can you hear me now?
Yes, that's much better. Thank you.
Okay, wonderful. So what I'm saying is that Harris 28% of the vote, Trump 73% of the vote, and you are running, and we feel really good about it. So tell us about you and this race. What are you thinking?
Oh, I'm thinking that, well, first of all, these people will vote for a tree trunk if it's got an R next to it. They don't really pay any attention. And yes, it's a very, very red area. And the only thing that's given me any hope at all is that we did lose Todd. Todd Gilbert was my opponent. And then he's working in Page County now. He got a new job. So I'm glad to hear that.
Mm-hmm.
The person, my opponent now is not well known. I mean, he's well known in his hometown, but he's not well known in the other counties. I cover Page County, part of Rockingham County, and part of Warren County. Nobody in those areas know who he is.
Well, that's good for you.
I just kind of fell into a good time with the problems we're having with Trump. The people that I talk to I don't even ask them if they're Republican or Democrat, but they don't like what's going on in this country.
So really,
and I let them know. I'm like, Shane, I'm here for you. I'm here for Virginia. States aren't getting the support they used to get. We're on our own. And that's why I'm running. I'm running to say, we've got to do this ourselves. We got to take care of ourselves.
I think that's pretty awesome.
And on the other hand, if they don't vote for me, they're not really voting for anybody, because we've got more Democrats that are Shane's going to win. Andrew is really in there. I mean, he's just being like lifted up and carried on people's shoulders practically. So there's going to be a majority of Democrats in the House. If you vote in this person that nobody knows, he has no power. He's not going to be able to go to Shane and say, hey, let's do this bill. Shane's going to go drop dead. He's not going to have any support.
So Kathy, can you hear me?
And I'll have the support. I'll have these people behind me. We've all been working together. We all plan on doing this together.
Hey, Kathy.
There's going to be so many of us.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. I just want to say, Fennell's trying to get your attention. Thank you, Kathy.
Yeah, thank you. I was trying to get your attention. Well, thank you, Kathy. So we're going to come back to you, but I want to get to Andrew. So Andrew, we're really happy to see you too. And you really do. You have one where Harris was 45 and Trump was 52. That's 7 points. And it has to give you a lot of optimism with the Caitlin Dre campaign that was 11 points Trump, and she won that district by 55%. So tell us a little bit about your district and what you're doing, because everybody has a chance here. So tell us.
Yeah. Yeah, that's sort of what I've been saying since I got into the race, that a big part of what I had to do is build a strong sail and hope for really strong winds. And it's absolutely possible to flip a district like this one. The 34th district is all the city of Harrisonburg, which has James Madison University, which is 20,000 plus students who can all vote here. And then that's about 50% of the district, and the other 50% of the district is Rockingham County, which is rural, has lots of small farms. The poultry industry is huge there, and we also, in both Harrisonburg and Rockingham, have a really large immigrant and refugee community. I am a father of 2 young kids. I'm an educator. I've worked in education my whole career, but I came into being a candidate through my work in climate and environmental advocacy locally and sort of at the state level too. And I'm a first-time candidate running against a 15-year incumbent who does not do a whole lot of anything. I think he feels very comfortable in his position. He has had really great candidates running against him in a couple cycles, but it just never quite, no one ever really got too close to flipping it. They ran beautiful, great campaigns. And so, I'm running a really similar reason to what Shane said, because I feel like our representatives just fail to represent regular working people, and folks like my opponent are really in office serving the interests of a system that benefits folks that already have a lot, folks at the top that don't need help. That's what I see over and over again by the folks representing areas like mine, and I'm tired of it, and I wanted to do more. I believe the folks in District 34 and across the Commonwealth deserve wages that they can live on, access to affordable health care, an environment that isn't destroyed for our children, and an ability to, no matter who you are, retire comfortably, age with dignity, and I am going to bat for those beliefs here.
So I am going to say that Antonia is probably going to have a lot of things to say that are going to really be beneficial to you guys, and I'm hoping that you guys will be able to stay for the after chat in order to be able to deal with that. Because what I want you guys to think about as you hear Antonia is you got to find 7 points from somewhere, right? You got to find a little more than 7 points, and so based on what you said, where are you going to find them? So I hear the overarching message, but then when you get down to the real strategy of where those points are going to come from and what the concept of your campaign that's going to be more compelling, because that's what has to happen, right?
Yeah.
Kamala Harris was compelling. Folks said, I'm not going to vote for Trump, so I'm going to vote for Harris, or I'm going to stay home. And so for all of you is, what is going to be that compelling thing that says, oh, whoever the person is that I used to vote for, what is going to be more compelling this time? So I'm going to take 2 minutes of Antonia's time. So I'm going to give you guys just 30 seconds to tell me your compelling thing. What is the most compelling thing that's going to get you your 7 points, going to get you your points, Shane? So, and yours, Kathy, is going to move in your direction. 30 seconds, guys. That's all I got.
Who you want to go first?
Yeah, Shane, go.
Okay, so 30 seconds. Look, I go everywhere. I show up everywhere. Like to the point that the local GOP committees have stopped putting addresses on things because I show up and I talk to their members and I make them feel heard. I don't believe that I have it on lock. I don't believe that these folks owe me their vote. And I go out of my way to convince them that, look, I've been married 21 years. If my wife agrees with 60% of what I say on any given day, I'm having an incredibly good day. But we still sit down around the kitchen table and we find solutions to real problems, not made up culture war bullcrap. We solve problems, and I want to work with you.
Perfect. All right, Kathy, 30 seconds. That's all you got.
Okay. Trying to see while he was talking. Okay, first of all, I'm a technician, not a politician. I've helped with the committees and stuff, but I'm not a politician at all. I am a technician. I fix stuff. I will not leave a problem until it is fixed. So you send me to Richmond and I will fix our problems. We have so many here in this area. Again, like everyone else, our representative didn't do anything for 19 years for us. And we have so much that needs to be taken care of. Housing and education, and healthcare, of course, healthcare. So I want to see those things get done and I will fix it.
All right, she's going to fix it. Andrew, 30 seconds. What are you going to do? What's the compelling message?
So yeah, in 2023, 33% of Harrisonburg voted in that House of Delegates race. And I see this as an education challenge. I go to folks, I ask them who their delegate is. Nobody knows who Tony Welt is. He's been there for 15 years and they don't know who he is or what he's done. They don't know what the House of Delegates is half the time. And so this is an educational challenge. Folks have to understand what the stakes are, and why voting in state elections matter. And I'm not putting all my eggs in one basket. I've got a lot of students that I need to reach. I've got a lot in the immigrant community that I need to reach. I've got a lot of folks who voted for Trump but aren't feeling great about that I need to reach too. So I am going everywhere that I can go. Like Shane said, I am trying to be everywhere right now. And so it's getting out there and educating.
Thank you. I just want to say that I think Catherine and team would say in 2017 that folks thought lots of things were not possible. But based on where we are today in this environment, where we are living, in the spaces that we are living, anything is possible. So I'm going to say goodbye to you guys. I hope that you'll stay for the after chat. I'm going to bring up Antonia because I know she probably has a lot to say about what she's heard. And what we have the potential to do. Catherine,
Yeah, I'm popping in real quick because you are a little quieter on your mic. So I just want to see if we can improve that a little bit. Hi, Antonia. Great to see you here. I'll let you guys get at it. And candidates, please put your links in the chat. People would love to help you.
Okay, let's see. I'm a little quieter on my mics. I'm going to yell then. Antonio, are you hearing me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you okay.
All right, perfect. So you've heard all that you've heard from these candidates, but here's where I want to start with you. First of all, I think people should know, I love what your tagline is. It says, unleashing the power of volunteers. Your mission is to make basic human decency popular again. And so most importantly, you talk about how we reframe these conversations. We're going to talk a lot about the do not associate list, but I want to talk about the homemade campaign because a lot of these guys don't have a lot of support from the DNs, any of the Ds. So my question is, when you talk about the homemade campaign, based on what you've heard, what does that mean to these folks?
Okay. Yeah, the piece I did recently on the homemade campaign, it kind of summarizes a lot of what I've talked about, what I've worked on over like the last 30 years, which is when I took a deep dive into the science of what works in persuasion, I found that really the only thing that actually persuades anybody is a recommendation from a friend or neighbor. And the entire commercial marketing world is designed to give messages to people who already buy products or already support people so they can share them with their friends and neighbors. So if something doesn't generate word of mouth, it does not work. But what we have is we have a ton of people, we have people in the community, we have relationships, we know people, and what we've come to do is take all those people, take money from them, send it to DC, turn it into ads that make no sense and don't resonate, and then shower them back down on top of the community. And what we really need to do is work with every single supporter, every single person, and figure out how to create that word of mouth through the resources that we have, through the people that we have. And you guys are already doing a lot of this. You're out there in the community, but instead of just being you out there in the community, your supporters can do the same. They can get out there, they can talk to people, they can reach into communities that you may not currently have access to. And and so I recommend a lot of visibility. Like one of the things that the traditional campaigns sort of ignore is the importance of being seen. You know, Shane, you talked about being everywhere. You want people to see you being everywhere. You want people to see your lawn signs everywhere. You want to have you want to do video that shows you being everywhere, like Mamdani did in New York. The idea that when people see you, even if they're not there when you are there, if they see you in a place where they go, where they have been in the real world, it anchors you in their real world. So doing a lot of video that shows you being places in the district is almost as good as being there for the people that see it. So that's really important. But I'd have to kind of go back and review. I forget what I actually wrote in detail in there. But it's
let me just stop for a minute, because what you said is a couple of things that are really important, not just to these candidates, but to every candidate. So I just want to repeat what you said. Visibility is everything. Being out there, being seen, being heard. People should wake up in the morning and be talking about you every single day. If you can't be there, do videos that show you in places that they associate with themselves. That is not a hard thing to do. And so every candidate should be doing that. So I'm going to stop there on that. And I want to just free you up now to say, based on the things that you've heard and some of the things that we probably don't get right, is probably your do not associate list, which I made myself a new copy of today. So that's like one of your anchor pieces. So why don't you talk a little bit about your do not associate list and why it's so important?
Okay, so one of the biggest problems that we have with messaging is that we are reacting, not driving the message. So, you know, our opposition has developed an expertise in creating stories that create negative associations with people and things that should not be that should not be associated. Like when they say, you know, transgender people and predators, we do not want to create those associations. The problem is the way our brains work and the way people's brains work is that if you go out there and say, immigrants are not committing crimes, you are literally waking up the part of somebody's brain where the immigrants live and the part of their brain where crime lives and connecting the two. So all the time, you know, we have to, anytime you're saying we are not this, so-and-so is not this, you have to be aware that you are creating associations. And that's exactly why they do it. Because then because we literally help them spread their message by planting the idea in people's brains. Ghislaine Maxwell and victim, they're going to claim that she's the victim. You know, if you say she's not the victim, you're still planting the idea in people's heads that she could be the victim. So be very, very aware of the danger of reacting. And I feel like the biggest challenge for me is getting us to be willing to go out there and make the case for us, for what we stand for what we're trying to do. I've heard a lot of resistance to identify as a Democrat. I understand that. However, even if you don't advertise it, if people ask, do not talk shit on Democrats. Do not talk shit on the party. You are a Democrat. At the Women's Summit, Abigail Spanberger did a fantastic job. She said, yeah, I'm a Democrat. This is what it means to be a Democrat. And she said that in a way where people were like, oh, if that's what it means to be a Democrat, then maybe that's a good thing. So don't like trying to distance yourself from the party makes you look disloyal. It gives people a reason to believe that your party should not be in charge. So they might even like you, but vote against you because they don't think they don't want to put your party in power. You know, don't fall into that trap. If you don't want to emphasize it, that's fine. But if somebody asks, be positive. You know, make your positive case, because with all there's a lot of shit talking on Democrats right now coming from Democrats. and it's incredibly destructive. Our negative brand out there in the world, a lot of that is driven by us, what we're talking about. And we
So,
need to get a grip on that because
so
it's not
Antonia,
helping.
Antonia, so let me
Yeah.
stop you there because I just want to say that again loudly. Yes, and I've been saying that for a really long time that we are our worst enemy talking about ourselves. And I also just think, I mean, honestly, if I was going to be ashamed to be anybody, it would be a Republican because they
Yeah.
are horribly cruel and awful and hateful and mean and all of the things that are happening. They have created those things. I know I shouldn't say that like that, but I needed to in this moment just to say that, yeah, so we need to learn how to talk about ourselves as Democrats. There's one other point that I really wanted to cover with you, and it was talking about the economy and talking about why government is important because we tend to like back away from some of these things. But you always say the government is important. The government is supposed to work for the people. Can you talk about that for just a minute?
Absolutely. I'm glad you brought it up because that's what I was gonna try to get in there. So for candidates, I want you to know that there is one message that I have worked on, that I have tested, that blows every other message out of the water. And it goes kind of like this. It says, your whole life, you have been told that there's this deal. If you are willing to work hard, you will be paid enough to support your family. They're not holding up their end of the deal. And we, using our government, need to make them hold up their end of the deal. Now, the interesting thing, I've worked on this with candidates in the field. We've had responses where people will cry, people hug the candidate, like it's tapping into a deep sense of unfairness that people are feeling. And there's a very significant reason why that particular metaphor works in a way that other messages on the economy do not. And that is that our public debate on the economy has been trapped in this false dichotomy between the free market and the safety net. But the problem is both of those ideas act like we, as people who live in the society, have no control over what the economy does. The free market says the market exists in this fantasy world where it exists all by itself. The safety net says the market sometimes screws people over, but we use government to clean up the mess. And it's like people feel like they're going out there in the economy and just being beaten up in the schoolyard. That our economic system is beating them up like a bully in the schoolyard. And the safety net thing is like the teacher who comes out and says, "Oh, I'm so sorry, here, let me buy you lunch." When what people really want from government is for the teacher to stop the beating up in the first place. And so this metaphor of enforcing the deal, it has a legitimate role for government, which belongs to us. Government is simply a tool that we use to make decisions about how we want our society to work. We have the right to decide how our economy is going to work. And talking to people about the idea that, like, people believe that the American dream is basically dead, but they still believe that it should exist. They believe that it's the right thing. And so if you go out there and say you're working hard, they've been told their whole life that if they're not succeeding in this economy, it's their own fault. You might be the first person to ever say, hey, it's not your fault. You're doing it right, and they're screwing you over. And that is a message that just lands. I mean, I cannot even tell you how much that message lands, no matter who you are talking to, young people, old people, rural people, urban people. It absolutely works. And if you're concerned about, like, well, who's they? People will tell you who they is. People will tell you who they're being screwed by. People are being screwed by people in so many different ways. Have a conversation about who's doing the screwing, and have you can admit that you don't have the exact answers for what it is that we want government to do, but you can say, look, I feel like this is our government, and just say we have the right to have an economic system where that deal is upheld. And if you put me in there, that is the focus that I'm going to have on in legislature. Like, they don't need to know exactly what you're going to vote on. They need to know how you're going to make decisions about what to vote on. So if you say, I'm about economic fairness, that is going to be my guidepost. They don't need you to tell them exactly what you want to do. They just need to know that that is your guidepost, and they will appreciate the shit out of that, because they need to hear
Okay,
that.
that is fantastic. Catherine's here because that means my time is also up. But you're going to stay for the after chat, I hope. And I wanted to say, because I love this when I was reading your piece, and so I added this on, it's morally right to tax the rich. And I think that's important. It is morally right to tax the rich, because people they just sort of fly right through that. So I just say November 4th, make it right. So.
Yeah, because I do think it is like listening to Antonia. It is trying to talk about this and all these words, we can get lost in it, right? It's very sometimes very simple that government's supposed to work for the people. We invest in people, and they broke this system, and we're going to go in there and try to, people are convinced that things aren't working. So I think that, yeah, just kind of that direct talk is really helpful, because they kind of get it, right? But just pointing out who's breaking what. So we're so grateful that you're here. And I know we're going to go over to the after chat. I can't believe how fast an hour is gone. So stay with us, and I'm going to invite you to join us past 1. And Fennell, busy bee today. I think we made a lot of honey, right? We did a lot of good and saw the candidates. So what's your last words on this before we go over?
I'm just so excited, because I think that Antonia has given
Yes.
the strategy for these candidates, for all of us, in terms of what we need to do. And we've heard it all along, but now we've just heard it put really crisp and concisely in terms of what they need to do to win this race. So.
Yeah, and I think too, I heard loud and clear, and I think it's interesting, we go to the other side to listen to the candidates and have like a little roundtable with Antonia. So everybody, make sure you stick with us. I want to thank our guests for coming on today. I can't believe it's a beautiful weekend. It's going to be next week. We're going to have a great show September 12th. We have Tom Bonnier coming back. If you remember, Tom is the CEO of Terra Group and also senior advisor at Target Smart. And Lindley Thorne is going to come back from Royal Ground Game, because we are going to really ramp up talking about this election, because the next week will be early voting. But we're really talking about voting data analysis and all that great stuff. And then we have the Blacksburg Power Pack. But I want to make sure, because friends, while I have your attention, we are going to Blacksburg to support Lily Franklin and also Donna Page and that Power Pack and that trip. And Stare is going to put all this stuff in the chat. Join us September 18th, 19th. We're heading out there. We're going to knock doors for Donna, write postcards. We're going to also, Saturday, we'll be heading into Blacksburg area to knock doors for Lily. This is a lot of fun. Come out to the mountains with us. And we'll also be heading to Harrisonburg at some point, but we are going to make sure that we get everybody, try to help the candidates as much as possible. So next week will be real important. Fennell, what do you want to say?
Yeah, I was also going to say on September 17th, we're going to help Power Pack. And so that's going to be an opportunity for folks.
Yes.
I'm sure it's in the chat, but you'll get to hear Jess Craven and Congresswoman McClellan. And so I think that's going to be a wonderful opportunity. So I want to be sure that folks see that in the chat and come support it.
Yeah, that's going to be fun. Jess Craven's coming all the way in from California on Zoom from LA to support our candidates right here in that Power Pack in Virginia Beach is going to be awesome. And that will be on Zoom so everybody can attend. We want to raise a lot of money for some of these candidates to start getting the love. And I want to say thank you to our patrons again. And we're going to go over to the other side and see you in a few minutes. So hang with us.